so this was a way that I comforted myself when I didn't have comfort. I didn't perceive myself to have any other form of comfort. Hey y'all, it's Chimdi. So I had an experience happen recently and it came with a breakthrough, and I shared it with a friend and she was like, girl, your breakthrough helped me out. So I was like, okay, maybe it'll help y'all out. And it was on comfort eating. So I was watching Victor Odo talk about the moon, truly one of my favorite things to do. I was eating a sleeve of cookies as I was watching this. I love sweets. I've always loved sweets. Probably not always, right? For a lot of my life, I've really loved sweets, sugary candy, cookies, pies, all this stuff. And I think because I'm slim, you wouldn't assume that I consume as much sweetness and candy as I do. But yeah, you know, your girl's out here eating a sleeve of cookies. And so I was eating a sleeve of cookies and he was reflecting on how when we were more unconscious in our lives and our bodies, we would make choices and it would end in our death, and then we would pop out and we would be looking at our body and our soul and we'd see our life in front of us and we'd be able to see, oh, that's why we made those choices. That's why that happened. As he was saying that, I was right in the middle of eating a cookie and I had this thought of like, oh, if I consume so much candy that I die, you know, like I get diabetes or something and I die, I'll pop out of my body and I'll look at my life and I'll be able to see, oh, that's why you kind of had this uncontrollable habit around sweets. And I was like, well, I don't want to wait until I'm dead to understand why I'm here and what I'm doing. So let me go ahead and put this cookie down and feel into it. And I'm a part of the Timeless Wisdom Training, a 2-year program focused on healing personal, ancestral, collective trauma. And we learn all of these great tools around how to presence ourselves in our bodies, feel our emotions, understand what's connected to them, release them, let them go, right? So I was like, all right, let's do a process. And I felt into where is this connection and this sort of this tie and this emotional bond with sweetness and with candy, where is this coming from? And a few things came to mind. One was that when I was very young, my parents did not let us have a lot of candy and sweets. Like the ice cream truck would come, we would not get to go. So there was that feeling of like everyone else getting a chance to have this wonderful treat and knowing we would not get to take part in that. And so when I was able to start getting my own money, one of the things I spent it on was candy, because I couldn't count on it being in the house and sweets being in the house. So if I was to get it, I could now have my own money and I could get it my own way. And then a memory that came to mind was of being in high school. And I remember there was this day where I was like, okay, I'm creating an experience to look forward to. And what I was gonna do was take like $15, you know, go to my local store and buy just all of the candy that I can get with $15. And I'm gonna take it home and I'm gonna sit myself down in front of the television. I'm gonna put on like a DVD or a TV show or something. And I'm just gonna watch this show, watch this movie, whatever it was, and just eat all this candy. And that was like the highlight of my experience was doing this thing. I kind of realized in reflecting on that experience just how much, honestly, just how much young Chimdi was going through it. Like I was like, oh, you were really going through it, girl. Because often with like the healing, the trauma stuff, so much of the focus is on like early childhood. But then I was like, oh no, girl, like you was going through it the whole time. And so to just like remember who this young girl was, who was just so overwhelmed by everything that was going on in the family, in the school, in this city. I grew up in Baltimore City. There was just so much going on. And the way I had to create for myself this like tunnel vision, this super narrow focus. And for me at the time, it was like, we are getting these grades so we can get out of here. And then in terms of like my physical health and my like personal experience, I was not that kid going to parties. I was not going out. Like I was watching TV, I was watching movies, and often I was consuming a lot of sugar as I did these things. And that was my thing that I had to look forward to, because unfortunately I couldn't really rely on my external for comfort. Like I didn't feel like I was in a situation where I could go to people in my life and say, hey, I'm really going through it. Could you hold me? Could you comfort me? Can I express this? Like, can I, like, is there space for me to suffer in this moment and be held by you? And I didn't feel that. And so instead I withdrew inward, and it was very much sort of like, okay, Chimdi, you are taking care of yourself. You are treating yourself. You are creating experiences that you can look forward to for yourself. And this is one of the ways we can do it. And so I think as I've gotten older, I've never examined that relationship until truly a couple of days ago. And I realized that, yeah, it's this thing where whenever I'm like, even just now, we just had like a 30-person smaller group meeting for TWT, and in the middle I was like, I just want to go and buy a tub of ice cream. Like I just want to buy some Ben & Jerry's. I know the exact flavor I want to get. I just want to eat it. And it's because I associate eating this sweet thing with that feeling of like, it's okay. Like it's gonna be all right. You have something nice. You can afford this thing of ice cream. Like it's gonna be okay. You're comforted. Look at the sweetness. Like that is how I associate being taken care of emotionally, is with being taken care of by eating something very sweet. And I realized that this isn't something that I was obviously conscious of until now, like in a real way. Like I knew, I was like, oh, I eat a lot of candy. And I remember when I was traveling, someone said, candy is for children. And I was like, no, it's not. I'm a grown woman and I eat candy. She was like, no. She literally thought of a Snickers bar and was just like, that like fake sweet, like, no. But for me, of course, I'm like, what do you mean? It's incredible, you know? And actually what spurred my thinking around this was I was watching the movie Laws of Attraction on HBO. I'd never seen it, and I still haven't really seen it because I did cut it off. But the main character is this like high-powered lawyer, also very slim, powerful, successful. And whenever she is in moments of high stress, she literally like leaves the space and eats something really sweet as a way to like get herself back, and then she like re-enters. I think the movie was portraying it as like, oh, look at this fun quirk that this woman has where she comforts eats with this sweet stuff. But actually I'm like, now that I know how this stuff works, I'm like, this is trauma. Like she had to learn at some point in her life that she couldn't express when she was stressed. She couldn't express when she needed help. She couldn't express when she was feeling vulnerable and needed support. And so instead she found her own way of taking care of herself, and that was with sweets. And so I literally was seeing myself modeled in this movie. I cut the movie off because there was a lot of like, I think it's just a thing with movies in general, and especially with older movies, where like men just be kissing women, just be like, put my mouth on your mouth. And I'm just like, you don't want to ask, you don't want to inquire, you don't want to be like, you know, do you want this? Just straight up mouth on mouth. And I was like, this isn't what I want for myself. So I did turn that movie off. But I appreciate that representation because I was like, oh, I felt very, very, very seen in that. As far as I know with all of the healing work, is that the way to, if you want to shift anything, the first step is to just become curious and conscious about the pattern and understand, for me, oh, this was a way that I comforted myself when I didn't have comfort. I didn't perceive myself to have any other form of comfort. And so now that I'm an adult, if this pattern is no longer serving me, I can start to hold space for the parts of me that really just want to be comforted and seen. Like, I don't actually want ice cream, though as I talk, I kind of do feel like I do want it, but I actually just want to be seen. Like I'm actually feeling there's a lot of emotional stuff arising. There's a lot of uncertainty in my life. I'm gonna make a separate video about that. And so because there's like a lot of things up in the air, I want what's familiar, I want what's sweet, I want what's gonna make me feel as if I'm comforted and safe, even though nothing in my external world has shifted at all. If you are someone who relates to this, I just wanted to make a video so you know that you're not alone. We're out here. We're out here eating sleeves of cookies when what we really need is a hug. And the process of bringing conscious, compassionate, loving awareness to it is the way that we will hopefully release it. I do still very much want to get some ice cream, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make myself some spaghetti, you know, also carbs, but you know, I'm gonna just eat what we consider food, and then we'll see, and we'll take it step by step from there. And I'm gonna give myself love, and I'm not gonna blame myself, because I know that this was something that young me needed to do to get by. And I think where the sadness comes in is knowing that, like, dang, you know, like the idea of going through it as a kid is it just sucks. Like, no, kids shouldn't have to go through it. They should get to be kids. And to think that it's not just something that was limited to childhood, but actually like high school Chimdi was going through it. I'm like, high school Chimdi, my heart, you know? So yeah, that's the video. I love y'all. Thanks for watching. Thank you to my Patreon people. I also offer creative coaching so that you can make videos like this too. That's one thing that I feel very grateful for, is the realization that my purpose lies in my wholeness. And so it's not just about showing up here on YouTube and just showing the sparkly, beautiful, travel, living your best life kind of stuff. It's about talking about what is really going on, because we need to be met in our heart. We need to be met and truth. And that's something I can model and create on my YouTube. So if you're someone who also wants to create content and create art that is beautiful and true and connected and you need some help, I'm a creative coach and I can help you do that. All right, I'm gonna stop talking and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.